Hello, and welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast, where Steve will be introducing a subject, I'll respond, and we have a take to take about it. So, over to Steve.
Hi, people. Hamas attacked Israeli people. Israel attacked Palestinian people embedded with the Hamas. The Houthis, without the blowfish, have been firing on international shipping. The US and the UK have been firing on the Houthis in Yemen. Iran has been bombing Iraq because of some terrorist organization apparently is hiding in Iraq, close to the American embassy, as it turns out. And the latest is Iran has been sending the rockets across to Pakistan to get to the Jaish al-Adli terrorist group, which apparently have hunkered down in Pakistan.
Okay.
And 3 o'clock this morning, Brazilian time, Pakistan reciprocated and sent some rockets across to Iran, saying that Iran also has some terrorist groups. So there's an awful lot of terrorist groups going around that part of the world. The Middle East has terrorist groups like the UK has football teams. Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, he should have learned to keep mum, not say anything. But unfortunately, his government has said that Iran was in the right to send the rockets to Pakistan. You know that India and Pakistan don't see eye to eye.
Yeah. They're not the best of friends. Yeah.
As in spite of being neighbours.
Mm.
But then I don't live on my neighbour's house either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can understand that part.
Yeah.
But it would have been better if the Indian government didn't say anything about it, because one of the rockets could fall short of Iran and land on Indian territory. Accidentally deliberate.
Well, yes. Yeah, these things happen. Yeah.
So that's just in the Middle East. The question, of course, is going to get any bigger, this conflict in the Middle East, because it strikes me now that everybody's fighting with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like little subsections of sections of subsections of sections fighting with their own particular squabble. Let's put it right. On this, in Europe, you've got Grant. If you want to speak to a dumb person, you have to speak to Grant Shapps. He's the British Defence Minister, and he was boasting that the UK had given Ukraine the most in monetary terms since the conflict with Russia.
Oh, yes.
So, and he's saying this, puffing his chest out, saying, isn't the UK great? And there is a saying that says, "A fool and his money are easily parted." And Grant Shapps falls into that category, because what are the end results of all this money being shipped across to Ukraine? What are the end results? The answer is zero.
Hmm.
What did Grant Shapps get for the UK in return for all this money? And Rishi Sunak wanting to send even more money to Ukraine.
Mm.
Van der Leyen, the EU voice, is promising Ukraine 50 billion euros, but to her credit, it's more for reconstruction rather than for more arms.
Well,
and
yeah,
it's to be given over 4 years.
yeah, I think, yeah.
The Hungarian Prime Minister, I think Orban is his name, I think, he said that as long as it doesn't come out of the EU budget, and that each country can do it without taking it out of the EU budget, then it's in for it. But if it comes out of the EU budget, he's going to always vote against it. And she said, if he votes for it or not, it's going to happen, which means she wanted to break the law.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of political people are beginning to do. We see this in the United States about voting rights, and and governors breaking blatant laws. We see it in the UK and Rishi Sunak with his Rwanda policy.
Yeah.
Wanted to get that through by hook or by crook. And you got this lady, Van der Leyen, wanting to do it with or without the consent of Hungary. So there you go. You've got two, and this is without even going into Africa, where there are so many battles going on in Africa recently. I'm not going to go there because I've already put a lot on your plate now.
Yeah.
Because in the Middle East, everybody's squabbling amongst themselves.
Yeah.
The UK sending practically ghost ships across to the Red Sea to try and bomb Yemen because they just don't have the sailors. I think the ships are on something like 70% staffing levels. Because they just don't have the sailors. Nobody wants to join the Navy. Have to mothball two frigates, I think they were. Recently, because there's just nobody to go on board to sail them. But there you go. Israel, Middle East, Europe, Eastern Europe, all squabbling, all wanted to throw money around. It's almost like everybody is wanting to bankrupt their own particular country without respect for law whilst they're doing it.
Okay.
Over to you.
Right. Well, I think what will happen is that everybody will calm down. They'll sit around the UN tables and they'll discuss and come to amicable agreements about everything. Yeah, as the UN is meant to be doing. Yeah, I thought that was the idea of the UN. If I missed something, the League of Nations before that. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's always been wars. I mean, it's not new. I mean, you talk about Africa. I mean, you speak to anyone from Africa. I've worked with people from Africa who can talk about wars in their lifetime, and about the same age as me, a little bit older. Yeah, I must admit the one in the European was a war happening in Europe. That's happened all my life as well. So it's just we had Yugoslavia, Bosnia, Yugoslavia. That was a war, I think. So yeah, when the Iron Curtain. So I've known, pretty much when I've been growing up, wars. Don't forget I knew about the Falklands War as well in the 80s. So I was always remember turning on the 70s. There's a war or conflict going on somewhere. Yeah. So I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Should we be concerned or not? I do understand what you're saying. I mean, possibly the biggest concern at the moment is Iran and Pakistan. Well, that's the concern at the moment. Pakistan have nuclear weapons developed next to the button, ready to go. Iran don't.
As
Well,
far as we know.
I think we'd know about it because I think Israel would have dealt with it by now, if I'm being honest. So I think that's going to be. I'm going to be careful what I say on this podcast. It might be Pakistan playing a game here anyway, under the proxy for someone else. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just
Well,
thinking.
it was Iran that sent the missiles across to Pakistan first.
Yeah.
It struck me that Iran was sending missiles to the left and to the right, to the north.
Well, they're trying to make a statement. I mean, what can I say on here? Iran are not the favourites in the region anyway. We're talking about good neighbours and everything.
Good boys club. Yep.
Yeah. Don't think anyone's shedding any tears over it in the Middle East, really. I mean, there's always been conflict. It's doing whoever's making the weapons a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've worked for a weapons manufacturer, not directly for them, for another branch of it. A company I may add did some good humanitarian projects as well for research. Also made weapons. Okay. Yeah, I mean they but at the time on their intranet it said their biggest seller, the one that made the most money, was the multi-purpose missile. And I asked, well, what does it do? And it's not standing there. Make the tea, make the great dinner. I got told not to be facetious. Which okay, a good point, but unfortunately, we can't not have weapons now. We can't not invent weapons. If we'd suddenly all put down our weapons, the other guy wouldn't. That is the problem we've got. The thing about the UK boasting about how much it's basically attacking or fighting Russia in all but name. As far as I know, we haven't got boots on the ground there, although we're sending weapons and stuff to people who are operating from the instruction manual. Okay, but they've been openly trained in the UK as well. So yeah, that was the big boast as well. Photographs of Ukrainians standing next to our British squaddies. Great, wonderful. Let's really pee off Russia. I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be. It's always gone on. We've always had proxy wars. We had Vietnam. Well, Vietnam wasn't exactly a proxy war. It's directly, with an American involvement there. That's a bad example. But there's always been proxy wars happening. What isn't actually happening now is there isn't exactly an ideology behind it all.
That's right. That's right. And it's all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
From all the four corners of the world.
Yeah. Now, if you've ever read the Book of Revelations,
I'm waiting for the white horse to come clopping through.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the four horsemen of the apocalypse there. Anyway, it's all in place. The 7 letters, the 7 seals, and hey, great, happy days. Israel getting involved with something, and lots of enemies against Israel, i.e. the United Nations has got more resolutions against Israel than any other country. I mean, I'm not going to get into whether they're deserved or not. I don't think Israel care a lot about it. If you actually want to go for it, the prophecy is there's a country to the north of Israel. Is it called Gog? The leader is called Gog, and the country is Gog and Magog or something like this. So, and that's been identified as being Russia. There's been some tension between Russia and Israel recently. I mean, it's all in place. I mean, they call it the end of times. It's not called the destruction of everything. It's called end of times. Which could actually denote the end of times as things as we know it. Yeah. Which will basically people at the moment in Davos are talking about a new world order. I don't think they're going to be responsible for the new world order. I think something's going to happen that's going to be totally out of their control.
Did you hear what Milei said?
Oh
the
yeah,
new president of Argentina.
yeah.
He wiped the floor with them.
Oh yeah. Well, he went up and said exactly what you and I would. I mean, okay, as a British person, I've got a few issues with Milei over something else he has said, but he's not threatened anything. He's just said we could have dialogue about a certain thing with the British, which I'm all for. To be quite honest, I'm all for. But yeah, he's not the firebrand that everybody thinks he is. He's actually quite pragmatic, speaking in the tongue of a normal person. He has been saying what we've been saying on this podcast for a while. Yes, if you'd like to come and speak with us, we're more than open to have you as a guest. Yeah, I actually, yeah, I watched it, and I thought, oh, it's going to be weak. It was not a weak statement. It was no prisoners taken, no quarter given, straight in your face. I mean, there has actually been a joke meme or graphic meme created or video of a guy who's videoed himself saying almost exactly what he said, but he was using some profanities, a bit stronger than what Miller used. Yeah, which was actually very, very funny and exactly what we've all been thinking. I mean, who are the WEF? Who are these countries that are getting together? The argument about the WEF, I mean, I'm moving away, but it's connected to what's happening in the world, is the idea of having dialogue, all these big people having dialogue, how they can create a better thing for us all. Wonderful, great. The trouble is us all. We have to define of us always. You and me, are we going to be affected by it?
As Milei said at the beginning of his speech, he said that, this World Economic Forum are from people, powerful people, rich people,
yeah,
and also those people who want to be part of something big. And basically, that is saying that these governments, all the politicians that are going there, are not necessarily rich, powerful people, but they just want to be part of a club.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean,
you and I have not been invited to it.
No, we should be. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't think I could afford the air ticket. Actually, yeah, I need a sub on that. Yeah.
No, I mean the club in general.
Yeah, the club in general. Yeah. I found it quite interesting that the CNN reporter was actually surrounded by Rebel News online. Yeah, it was complex. He was being very, very amenable. I'm just trying to remember what his name is. Yeah, the British guy. He's very well spoken. He was actually being quite calm about it, in fairness to him. The Rebel News weren't really reporting it. We'll have to go at him directly, but it's CNN paying lots of money to be in the room, as it were, other media organisations. I mean, the whole thing is a money-making thing for someone. The fact it's all done, got all these media operations there, and everything's done it's not done in secret. They're saying it out loudly now. The WEF has been in existence since 1972, and I know we got away with it, but everything's connected, 72. So it's almost as old as I am. The difference between it and me is I actually matured and I realised there is no such thing as an ideal world. We have to create our own world as individuals. I don't want to be told what world I want to live in. I've made a decision to leave one world, one environment, and move to another one of my own free will and choice. Yeah. Have things turned out quite well for me, reasonably. I'm surviving much the same way I would have done there. Nothing really gets any better or worse for me as an individual. Yeah. Now, getting back to what's happening in the Middle East, you've got all these power players there and in different parts of the world wars, Ukraine. would Zelensky still be in power in Ukraine if it hadn't have been for the incident that has happened with Russia invading? There was due to be another election. Would he still be there? Would be my question. It's probably done him a favour. I don't know. I mean, it's who's behind it.
I don't know. I don't know. I think if there was peace in Ukraine, I think he would have got elected.
Yeah.
Simply because he's the happy comedian guy.
Yeah.
Who's got a certain personality.
Yeah.
But I think if you go back to a couple of podcasts ago,
Yeah.
where I was on about the people being bombed, the ordinary everyday people being bombed, and how important are we? And apparently we are not very.
Of course not.
It's a small group. I wouldn't even say at the top. It's a small group on this greasy pole that are doing the best to not to do the right thing, but just to be in the right place, to be part of something that they think is going to be bigger and better.
Well, they now have a problem in that we're now theoretically all much better informed. We're creating our own discussion forum to a wider audience, anyone that wants to listen to us. YouTube permitting, you're a part of probably what we're just talking about. We can all now globally, as a small people, form our own committees. We can see for ourselves what's happening in conflicts as well, with media that's out there. Be it, not always through YouTube, through other sources as well.